Hello everyone and welcome to the second week where we're going to discuss research and provider care. This is a very important week and lecture because Wellness for Life also can give you credit for your scientific method here at Community College of Vermont. So we do want to spend a lot of time on this, and you will see this week the text, the PowerPoint, and some of our activities are pretty involved, and we're going to really jump right in and get a lot of information. So I'm going to keep this video shorter than normal so that you can have more time with the text and the PowerPoints and get started on that. A few quick notes I'd like to make, though, since I'm here, is to just remind you of the importance of research. Sometimes we might think, well, don't we have all the answers to the questions at this point? It's right now 2019 as I'm filming this. And the answer is no. What we know today is certainly a lot more than we knew 20 and 50 years ago, and we'll know more 20 and 50 years from now. So research is ever progressing, so we need to understand the importance of continuing that, not just in science and medicine, but research is happening in the fields of anthropology and history and literature. We're learning more about many different things. Art history is another example. And with that, we need to realize that research is very expensive. Not only, especially in science and medicine, do you have to pay for all the technology and samples, but you have to pay for the technicians, the researchers, the PhD students, and the professors that are often taking part in these research items. Additionally, there's additional costs in publishing, which we'll talk about peer-reviewed articles here very shortly. That can be very expensive and time-consuming. And I want to give you an idea that sometimes it can take up to 7 years for all the research to be done and to be able to finally get it ready for publication. That's not unheard of. So it's a lot of time. So when you are this week looking up peer-reviewed journal articles, please have an appreciation for how much time and effort and money went into what may only be a 5-page paper. It may be years and many thousands of dollars invested in that. A big item that we want to talk about when we're talking about research, and you will see when you get into the lecture, that certain types of research do not determine what we call causality. Very few types do, and you will learn which ones those are. But I want you to make sure you're comfortable with the term causality. And what that means is cause and effect. Can this research prove definitively that when you do A, you wind up with result B? And a lot of them don't. Sometimes they'll say that it's more likely, for example, that if you eat a high-fat diet, you will have cardiovascular disease, but the study isn't definitively saying that if you have a high-fat diet, you will get cardiovascular disease, and that's the only cause. So we want to make sure that we understand that very few studies can show and determine causality, and those studies take many, many years and are very expensive. And again, you'll learn more about that in your text and in the PowerPoint lecture. And two more terms that I really want to talk about very briefly are the placebo effect and the nocebo effect. The placebo effect we've probably heard of, and oftentimes clinical trials take this into account by giving somebody something that is not going to work. For example, a sugar pill is really common if it's a medication that someone's taking. So by giving someone the sugar pill, they don't know whether they were given the actual medication or not. And so what sometimes patients will say is even if they were given the sugar pill, they feel better, or they're saying that they're not noticing those symptoms as much simply because a healthcare provider gave them a pill. So we want to take that into account. The nocebo effect is something else that has been recently studied, and because of something called informed consent, when you are a participant in a clinical trial, you have to be told what the possible side effects would be if you were given the actual medication. And with a nocebo effect, individuals that were given that sugar pill report having the headaches or the nausea or the dizziness, whatever those potential side effects were, because they assumed they were given the medication even though it was simply a sugar pill. So these are taken into account. And from this, what we can really garner is that our mind really has a big focus in our perception of symptoms. So we will talk about that at a later date as well. The rest of this week will be about peer-reviewed journal articles, so make sure you're spending time with that. I did attach another PowerPoint slideshow with some screenshots of how to use the Harkness Library website, and that's where you will want to get your peer-reviewed journal articles for this week's assignment, as well as the journal articles that you're going to use for the final project, and we'll give you more information on that later. But please make sure that you're comfortable using that and email me with any questions that you may have. I hope you found this helpful and enjoy this week learning about research and provider care. Have a great week.